let's dive right in. We're going to talk about a problem that I swear every single Python developer hits at some point. You write some code, it works like a charm on your computer, but the second you share it, it just breaks. Today, we're going to fix that for good by getting to know Python's built-in OS module.
Seriously, you've been there, haven't you? We spend hours on a script, it runs perfectly. You're proud of it. You send it over to a colleague, maybe a friend who's on a different operating system, and crickets. It just crashes and burns. What in the world is going on?
And here it is. This is the heart of the issue, right here. On your Linux or Mac, this line of code for building a file path is totally fine, but the exact same line of code on a Windows machine? Nope, fails completely. This is the exact mystery we're here to solve.
Okay, so let's break down what actually went wrong. The culprit is something we've all done, especially when we're just starting out. We hard code our file paths. We just type them out as strings.
You know, the root cause is surprisingly simple. It all boils down to one tiny detail. Different operating systems have different ideas about how you should separate folders in a file path. It seems small, but it's the very thing that makes our code so fragile. So here's the deal. Windows, it loves the backslash. But Linux and macOS, they use the forward slash. So when you manually type a forward slash into your code, you're basically crossing your fingers and hoping that your code only ever runs on a machine that uses it. That's a terrible bet to make, and it's a recipe for buggy, unreliable code.
All right, that's enough about the problem. Let's get to the good stuff, the solution. The great news is that Python already gives us this incredible built-in toolkit designed for exactly this kind of mess.
So, let me introduce you to the OS module. Honestly, you should think of this thing as your script's personal Swiss Army knife, or maybe a universal translator for file systems. It allows your Python code to speak the native language of whatever computer it's on, whether that's Windows, a Mac, or a Linux box. And you know what the best part is? It's already there. You don't have to pip install a thing. It's part of Python's standard library, it's super easy to get started with, and its whole reason for being is to give you that amazing write once, run anywhere power.
So let's start getting our hands dirty with the first set of tools in our new toolkit. I mean, before we can work with files, we got to know how to find our way around the file system, right?
First up, we have os.getCWD. The CWD stands for Current Working Directory. This is basically your script asking, hey, where am I right now? It gives you back the full path to the folder where your script is actually running. This is your home base, your starting point for everything else.
Okay, so once you know where you are, you're probably going to want to look around. That's where os.listdir comes in. You can give it any path, or even easier, just give it a single dot, which is shorthand for right here, and it'll give you a list of every file and folder in that location.
And this is pretty much what it looks like. You just get this nice, clean Python list with the names of all your files and folders. No fuss, no mess. It's super simple, and you'll find yourself using it all the time.
Now what about creating new folders? You've got two main choices. There's os.mkdir, which is simple, but it's kind of fragile. If you tell it to create a folder inside another folder that doesn't exist yet, it just fails. That's why the one you'll almost always want is os.mkdir. It's way more robust. It'll create the entire path you need, making any missing parent folders along the way. So much safer.
Okay, I need you to pay close attention, because this next part is the single most important takeaway from this entire explainer. This is it. This is the fix for that problem that started this whole thing. So, here's the million-dollar question. How do we stop guessing with slashes? How do we build a file path that is absolutely 100% guaranteed to work no matter where our code ends up?
The answer is os.path.join. This is the golden rule. From this day forward, you will never, ever build a file path by adding strings together with a plus sign. You will use this function. Why? Because it automatically knows what operating system it's on, and it does the right thing every single time.
And its magic is just so simple. You don't give it a full string. Instead, you just give it the pieces of your path as separate arguments, the folder name, the file name, whatever. It then looks at the operating system and it intelligently sticks them together with the correct separator. On Windows, you get backslashes. On a Mac or Linux, you get forward slashes. It just works.
So, now that we've totally mastered the golden rule of building paths, let's level up and look at a few more powerful tools in the OS module that let us inspect and really explore the file system.
You know, before you try to open a file or read from it, it's always a good idea to, well, make sure it's actually there. These functions let you write much safer code. You can ask, hey, does this path even exist with os.path.exists? And then you can get more specific and ask, okay, but is it a file or is it a directory? This stuff prevents a ton of errors. But what if you need to do something really complex, like find every single JPEG file buried deep inside a messy folder structure? For that, we bring out the powerhouse, os.walk. Think of it like a little robot that you can send into a directory, and it will systematically walk through every single folder and every subfolder and report back what it finds. So let's imagine we tell it to start in our Documents folder. On its very first step, os.walk comes back and says, okay, I'm currently in the Documents folder. In here, I see two subfolders called Projects and Reports, and I also found these two files. But it doesn't stop there. On its next step, it automatically dives into that first subfolder, Projects, and does the exact same thing again. It will keep going like this, recursively, until it has visited every single corner of that entire directory tree. It's incredibly powerful for automation.
So let's quickly recap the most important stuff. The OS module is your absolute go-to for any file system tasks. You can find your way around with getcwd and listdir. You can create folders safely and robustly with make directives. But the big one, the golden rule, you will always build paths using os.path.join. And when you need to search an entire directory tree, os.walk is your best friend.
You now have the fundamental tools to write Python scripts that are robust. Scripts that can organize files, create entire project structures, find specific data, and most importantly, do it all on any computer without breaking. So the only real question left is, what tedious task are you going to automate first?